So a few weeks ago, there was rumors about Nintendo having a direct sometime in September or somewhere along those lines. And then the Indie Direct dropped last week. And I want to talk about it. Hey guys, it's Frankly Games. And if you're new to the channel, like and subscribe as I do post more content like this. So without further ado, let's get into it. So first, they started off with Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. And besides the interesting name, I don't really have too much to say. I think it's a pretty cool game to add to the collection of Switch titles, but this game is definitely not for someone like me. I will say though that the music for this game is really well made and complements the world perfectly. And also, this game helped me get hyped up for what other games were coming up. But other than that, yeah, moving on. So then they showed off Tone, and this complete shifting gears was pretty jarring at first. But then I got used to the more peaceful and beautiful scenery, and I must say that Tome looks really good. Now, what I mean by that is the whole world is a beautiful black and white, hand drawn masterpiece that honestly looks just amazing. I can't even really remember the last game I played that was in black and white. I think it was probably Pokemon before the Game Boy Color edition came out. But anywho, this kind of reminds me of those days where everything was super simple and laid back, and you're just playing the game just because. And I think that's the reason this game resonated with me a little bit. It looks like a relaxing game where you can just take pictures of various things, animals, or even people to progress through the story, either by helping others or completing missions. And I think that is beautifully made. So, going along with a more atmospheric route, Far Changing Tides definitely caught my attention. So, I have a fear. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily call it a fear. I would more like call it a timidness of deep, dark water. And, well, this game seems to be pretty much all about that. So for me, watching this trailer was sort of a mix between slumbering dread and beautiful, somber oceanic views. And it was honestly an experience I never had watching a trailer before. So it's safe to say that this definitely was an interesting experience for me, and one that I will probably never forget. That aside, this seems to be more of a story narrative driven game, as obviously there isn't any hack and slash action that we've seen. It looks like you'll be going on a journey alone with your ship that always has your back, and the endless depths of the sea imposing on your freedom. I honestly can't wait to find out more about this game, and I love that I know virtually nothing about it. Moving on from there, they showed games that I personally wasn't really interested in, so I'll just briefly mention them. They were Loop Hero, Necrobarista Final Pour, Guardian Story, and Boyfriend's Dungeon. I will say Guardian Story does look like a 2D Zelda game, and that Boyfriend's Dungeon was definitely not a game that I would pick up, like, ever. Sorry. Other than that, moving on. Now, this was a surprise, at least for me. Axiom Verge 2 was shown, and despite being, well, confused for pretty much the entire way through, the trailer looks really good. Now, I do realize that it came out last week by now, but since it's in the showcase, I still want to talk about it. So there's two obvious things about this game. It's a Metroidvania game and it has 16-bit graphics. Now, this is really cool to me because I think the game perfectly balanced the old school graphics with a more modern twist to them, making the scenery quite peaceful and easy to look at. Also, the fact that you're just thrown into a mysterious world from the start, and then you slowly have to figure out where you actually are, is riveting. Are you dead, in purgatory, in a different world? I have no clue. Even though this game does have quite a few action sequences, I think the main plot point is the story. Now, I know that the first one is complicated, to say the least. Different worlds and timelines all intersect toward this one world, but apparently this second one is something a little bit different. I obviously haven't played this game yet, but I do love games that are self discovery driven games, so to add this to my collection would be a complete honor. After that, we got some smaller titles coming up. Things like Shovel Knight Pocket Dungeon, Islanders Council Edition, and Tetris Effect Connected. Now, all of these games do seem pretty fun, honestly, but there was one game that was shown around this time that really got my attention, and that was Metal Slug Tactics. So before the showcase, I knew about this game and the fact that it probably was going to come out soon. I just didn't realize it would be now. Anyways, this game looks like a really fun strategy war-like game with roguelike elements tossed in. So you take control over the legendary Peregrine Falcon squad as you face off against the most infamous characters from the Metal Slug series. I feel like this game is literally just a celebration of the best fights, enemies, and bosses of the series mixed into one game. And if that's what this game is going to be, I am down. At first, I honestly wasn't too excited about this game because it didn't really grab my attention. But the more I learn about this game and the longer I wait, the more I want to play it. So after all of those announcements, the showcase calmed down a bit and they showed games like Astroneer, 100 Days, Slime Rancher, Lumberjack, Curious Expeditions 2, and I think an update for Game Beasts. Now, all of those games are cool to have available, but none of them really caught my attention. So I was a little surprised when that was it. They showed all the games they needed to, and even though we did have some good games, it felt like something was missing. Well, I can't say I was wrong. The last game they showed was Eastward. Now, okay. So, where should I even begin with this game? Usually, with grand adventures like this, the hero gets a weapon, right? A sword, bow, staff, even a shield, even though that might be anime. In this game, you do get a weapon, and in fact, it's a legendary weapon, the almighty frying pan. Yep, yeah, that's right. You get a frying pan. The colorful yet vibrant world of Eastward is like no other. It's an epic RPG/adventure game where, while traveling the world, you'll come across numerous towns housing quirky characters and strange creatures. Even though everything about this game seems colorful, playful, and quirky, there are some darker underlining tones. Society is starting to collapse, and humanity's population is at an all time low. There is something big lurking in the shadows of Eastward, and it's your job to find out what that is. Now, this is why I'm so excited about this game. There's a beautiful contrast between the visuals and the story of the game, and so many possible routes they can go with it. And I think that this is just the beginning. The music, at least the little I heard, it seems to go along quite well with the whole aspect of the world. It has a cyberpunkish, happy feel to it, with a tiny mix of dread, if that even really makes sense. And the visuals are just absolutely stunning. The pixel art of this game makes it feel like a modern arcade game, which I honestly can't get enough of. And can we just talk about the details this game has for a second? I mean, seriously, look how detailed this game is. It's awesome in every single way I can comprehend, and
Nowadays, that's pretty rare, to be honest. It's safe to say for me that this game completely stole the show, and I am getting this game on day one.
Now, I wouldn't normally do a video on a smaller showcase like this, but a lot of games here looked really interesting to me. And I wanted to give you guys my thoughts on, well, everything in the showcase. Now, obviously, it didn't completely blow my expectations out of the water, but again, there was a lot of solid games here, which kind of begs the question, which games are you guys most excited about? Are there any games that you guys really don't want to play? Well, let me know. And until next time, guys, I'll see you later.